Do you see Ivy at any point getting inserted to the starting lineup, or do you think even when they get Bogey back, they get Monte back, they're still going to keep Ivy on the bench?
That's the thing. I'm going to continue to say it. I wish he was starting. I believe he should be starting, at least with this iteration of the Pistons. When you start getting some of those other players back, Monty Williams' philosophy is to mix in a little bit of the vets with the young players. And I think that that's what's going on right now, and that's what he's gearing up towards right now, and getting Jaden Ivey comfortable with a role. When you look at his box score, I believe he played well. But when you look at the playmaking, when you look at the steals, when you look at those types of things that other players are bringing to the table, Jaden Ivey doesn't necessarily bring that to the table. I think that he's a good facilitator. We saw when they put the ball in his hands last year that he was absolutely able to go out there and get the assist numbers. This new bench role is something he's going to have to figure out. But again, I personally would start him. I thought that he brought a certain energy as soon as he came into the game. He brings a certain hustle. We saw him diving on the floor. We saw him going after rebounds. He had 7 of those last night. So Jaden Ivey, he's not doing, in my opinion, really anything wrong to warrant being on the bench. But I happen to believe that it's more of a fit thing for this squad when Monty Williams believes that he has his full roster there and able to just kind of run with those guys.
So what do you think he needs to do? Because it sounds like when I'm watching Jaden Ivey, it almost seems like not panicking, but he's going a little too fast, and that's where it's running him into trouble. So maybe that's my opinion, but obviously I'm not the biggest basketball knower in the world here. What does Ivey need to do to kind of clean up until Monty's comfortable with putting him in the starting lineup, in your opinion?
Well, that's what I think is going on now. That's what I do. When they drafted him and they got a chance to see him out there on the court, the first thing that came from the front office, the first thing that Dwayne Casey spoke of is that he looks like a guy that's going 115 and a 70. Yeah. And that does get him into trouble sometimes. Sometimes he can overshoot the play and miss the proper read. And so, Monty Williams spoke to the fact that his guys that he knows this team is going to have to depend on, that they developed some bad habits last year, being able to just play through that stuff, both Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, and that he wants to see Jaden Ivey become more or less the player that he knows he can be. At the training camps, at the practices, I'm telling you guys, I see Jarrett Jack, I see Monty Williams, I see these guys giving Jaden Ivey personal time, coaching him up. And based on what Jaden Ivey is saying, he's trying to make sure that he meets those marks, and he's doing it with a very, very mature demeanor.